Constituent as noun. A citizen or voter in a political constituency. A component or element of a larger entity. The candidate met with several constituents to discuss their concerns about local issues. The company's constituents are primarily located in the United States and Canada. The university's faculty and students are considered constituents of the institution. The congressperson received a letter from a constituent requesting assistance with a federal matter. The organization's constituents include individuals from a diverse range of backgrounds and professions. Credence as noun. Belief or trust in the truth or reliability of something. The quality of deserving belief or acceptance. The statement was given credence by the fact that it was backed up by multiple credible sources. The new theory gained credence among scientists after being tested and proven through experimentation. The lawyer argued that the defendant's testimony should be given no credence due to his history of lying. The success of the startup company gave credence to the idea that innovative ideas can lead to success. The popularity of the book series lent credence to the notion that young adult literature has a large and loyal following. Eccentric is noun. A person who deviates from normal or conventional behavior or manners. A person who has quirky, unconventional, or peculiar habits, mannerisms, or appearance. The fashion designer was known as an eccentric, always dressed in flamboyant outfits. The town's eccentric was a mysterious old man who lived alone in a crumbling house. The eccentric was rumored to have hidden treasure buried somewhere on his property. The writer drew inspiration from the eccentrics she encountered in her travels. The group of eccentrics gathered every week to discuss their latest creative projects. Flag as noun. A banner or emblem carried or displayed in a parade, rally, or other event. A signal or symbol used to communicate information or indicate a particular condition. The ship signaled distress by flying a red flag from its mast. The flag of the United States is red, white, and blue, with 50 stars and 13 stripes. The referee threw a flag on the play, indicating a penalty for unsportsmanlike conduct. The hikers used a flag to mark their trail and make sure they didn't get lost. The marathon runners rounded the final turn and crossed the finish line under a waving flag. Incumbent as noun. The person holding a particular office or position. The person who is responsible for performing a particular duty or task. The incumbent president is seeking re-election. The incumbent CEO will retire at the end of the year. The incumbent senator has served for over 2 decades. The incumbent mayor has implemented many successful policies. The incumbent governor faced a tough challenge from his opponent. Indifference is noun. Lack of interest, concern, or emotional involvement. Lack of interest, concern, or sympathy for someone or something. Apathy. Her indifference towards her friend's problems hurt their relationship. The company's indifference to customer complaints led to a decline in sales. His indifference to politics made him an unpopular candidate. The teacher's indifference to student progress resulted in poor performance. The doctor's indifference to patient concerns caused frustration. Pastoral as noun. A genre of literature or music that idealizes or romanticizes rural life and the countryside. A type of literary or artistic work that is concerned with rural life and its ways of living. She enjoyed reading pastoral literature because it transported her to a simpler time and place. The museum had a collection of pastoral paintings from the 18th century. The concert program included several pastoral compositions from the Romantic period. The professor gave a lecture on the characteristics of pastoral poetry. The local theater group put on a production of a pastoral play by Shakespeare. Raft is noun. A flat floating structure made of logs, planks, or other materials, used for transportation on water. The group of friends went on a rafting trip down the river. The survivors clung to a makeshift raft for days before being rescued. The raft was constructed out of logs and ropes, a testament to human ingenuity. The children built a small raft out of sticks and twine, pretending to be adventurers. The cargo ship carried a raft of goods across the ocean. Resignation as noun. The act of quitting or giving up a claim, right, or privilege. The act of relinquishing or abandoning a position, job, or office. Her resignation from the company came as a surprise to her colleagues. The politician's resignation was followed by a wave of scandals. The coach's resignation was due to the team's poor performance. The CEO's resignation led to a drop in the company's stock price. The resignation of the school principal sparked protests from parents and students. Tout as noun. A person who promotes or advertises something in an aggressive or persistent manner. A person who solicits business or customers, especially in a brazen or annoying way. The street vendor was a tout who wouldn't leave us alone. He worked as a tout for a travel agency. The club was filled with touts trying to sell tickets. The touts outside the stadium were selling counterfeit merchandise. The tout tried to convince us to buy a timeshare. Arrivista nun. A person who has recently acquired wealth, status, or success, especially one who is considered to be socially ambitious or newly arrived in a particular sphere. Someone who is perceived as an upstart or newcomer in a specific social or professional sphere. The ambitious arrivista sought connections with influential figures to advance his career. Her rise from obscurity to wealth marked her as an arrivista in the city's elite circles. The arrivista's lavish spending was an attempt to fit into the upper echelons of society. The literary protagonist was depicted as an arrivista, striving to enter high society. The social circle frowned upon the arrivista's attempts to infiltrate their exclusive club. Anomaly as noun. A deviation from a rule, principle, or standard. Something that deviates from what is standard, normal, or expected. The unexpected result was an anomaly, and the experiment had to be repeated to verify its accuracy. The climate anomaly was attributed to global warming and was a cause for concern among scientists and policymakers. The financial anomaly was detected by auditors, and an investigation was launched to determine the cause and scope of the irregularity. The astronomical anomaly was caused by a celestial event that had never been observed before and required new theories to explain. The linguistic anomaly was a word that did not conform to the rules of grammar or syntax in the language. Bastardization as noun. The act or process of corrupting or degrading something, often referring to the debasement or deterioration of an original idea, language, or concept. The altering or debasing of something, resulting in a decline in its quality or purity. The film's adaptation was seen as a bastardization of the original novel's intricate plot. The artist protested against the bastardization of his work in the cheap reproductions. Critics accused the new policies of being a bastardization of the company's founding principles. The chef refused to allow any bastardization of traditional recipes in the restaurant. Historians lament the bastardization of historical events in the retelling of stories. Concomitant as noun. A simultaneous occurrence or a thing that happens at the same time as another thing. A thing that accompanies or is associated with something else as a consequence or natural result. Increased stress levels can have concomitant health effects. Economic growth can have concomitant environmental impacts. With success comes concomitant responsibilities. Increased competition in the market is a concomitant result of globalization. Higher prices are a concomitant effect of inflation. Flux is noun, a continuous flow or movement, especially of a fluid. A state of change, especially rapid or constant change. The economy is in a state of flux, with new regulations and policies being introduced regularly. The constant flux of new technology makes it difficult for companies to keep up. The flux of information on social media can be overwhelming at times. The composition of the atmosphere is constantly in flux due to various natural and human-made factors. The flux of traffic on the highway is particularly heavy during rush hour. Gaffe is noun, a social blunder, mistake, or faux pas, often resulting from saying or doing something inappropriate or embarrassing in a social setting. An unintentional act or remark that is considered tactless, inappropriate, or awkward, especially in a social context. She committed a gaffe by forgetting the guest's name. Making a gaffe during an interview can affect one's credibility. His mispronunciation during the speech became a social gaffe. The diplomat's comment was considered a diplomatic gaffe. His unintentional remark turned into a public relations gaffe. Graft is noun, a dishonest or unethical practice, especially in politics or business, where someone uses their position or influence for personal gain. The process of attaching a shoot or twig from one plant to a stem or root of another plant in order to propagate it. The doctor performed a graft, taking healthy tissue from one part of the patient's body and transplanting it to another. The skin graft was successful, and the patient's burn wounds began to heal. The fruit trees were grafted to produce better quality fruit. The politician was accused of accepting graft in exchange for favorable treatment of a company. The woodworker used grafting to create intricate patterns in the wood. Hedge is noun, a protective or defensive measure taken to reduce the risk of financial loss. A row of bushes or small trees planted close together, often used as a barrier or boundary. The garden was surrounded by a tall hedge, providing privacy and shade. The company used financial hedges to protect themselves against market risks. He used a hedge to separate his property from his neighbors. The politician's answer was full of hedges and evasions, trying to avoid a direct response. The player used a hedge to shield himself from the other team's defenders. Myriad is noun, a great multitude, a vast number, a large indefinite number, typically 10,000 or more. The starry sky was filled with a myriad of twinkling stars. The garden was home to a myriad of different plants and flowers. The internet offers a myriad of resources for learning and research. The new restaurant has a myriad of dishes on their menu. The writer used a myriad of literary devices in their novel. Tender is noun, an offer to perform a service or provide something, often in response to a request or invitation. Legal currency that is no longer valid or has been withdrawn from circulation. He placed a tender on the construction project. The company submitted a tender for the government contract. The chef prepared a delicious beef tenderloin for dinner. The farmer auctioned off his cattle tender to the highest bidder. The company's tender offer was rejected by the shareholders. Level up your English. Master vocabulary, idioms, and phrasal verbs with fun quizzes. Translate meanings into 104 languages. Download now. Link in the description. Please like and subscribe to our channel.